Hey everybody, this is Cromar with TGN. I'm here today to bring you another Rift video. This is from the Beta 7 event, or the Open Beta, and this is regarding the Champion, which is a Soul of the Warrior. My configuration is Champion, Paragon, Riftblade. I'll be going into that in great more detail in a little bit, but for now let me just show how it looks. The first thing you want to do is open with an ability that doesn't pull the mob, but it puts an armor debuff on him. Then charge in and start hitting your combo point abilities. Along the way, you're going to get some procs. You actually have 4 different abilities with this configuration that light up. I have them on my 1, my shift 1, my G, and my shift G, which is a little awkward, but I could probably work out a better system. And of course, you use your charge ability as a champion. That's an ability you get for just having 0 points in champion. There we go. My shift G procced. And I'll go over those procs one by one and show you which ones are which, what they do. Sometimes I miss them. The way it's organized is a little hard for me to see. I'm not used to having this many procs on one character, so I have to come up with a way to deal with it. Probably like using the UI modder to make like a special bar just for those abilities so I can see it more easily, but I don't know. I'll come up with something. But anyway, so let me just get back here to safety and show you what these, show you how this is set up here. In short, the champion is a two-handed class, and there's a two-handed specialization here that increases physical damage while wielding a two-hander, so to reinforce that. And there's also a chance to increase the chance to hit with two-handed weapons. And I only have 2 points. I want more, but it's a little hard for me to pull points out of this build. My supporting structures here, Paragon. Although this is a dual-wielding spec, it's actually a very good sub-spec for Champion because you can just ignore the talents that require dual wield, such as Teaching the 5 Rings and Double Jeopardy. These are both very good talents, but they don't work with two-hander. However, these basic talents here are great. Like this one just gives you more parry, which is awesome for grinding, of course. This one gives you a very small amount of ignore armor. It's not a lot, but it's still pretty good. But then you get some awesome abilities down in the root, which are just useful for everybody, like some passive strength. Who doesn't want that? And then I get a great ability called Turn the Blade. This is one of my proc abilities here. This activates every time I either parry or block. So you can actually use this for a tanking class if you wanted to, and for threat, I suppose, or for a shield DPS if that's something you try to put together. And then Wave the River, which gives you 3% crit. So that's obviously something that that's quite good, and that almost alone justifies having the Paragon. You could even, if you're really desperate for save points, you could just stop here at Wave the River and be okay, I think. There's another ability here that I don't have, Rising Waterfall. I think I've tested it and it's not as good as the basic attack for Champion, so I'm not using it because it's kind of designed around dual wielding. And then there's Dual Strikes, which is dual wielding only. I can't use it at all. And then Strike Like Iron. This is also really good, and I could probably weave this into my rotation. I just don't currently, but that might be an improvement for DPS. I just really haven't done DPS tests. I'm just kind of doing what feels the best. For Riftblade, Riftblade is one of the best specs to put 0 points into if you're just looking for something to give you something for free, because it gives you this great ability called Stormblade, well, it causes your crits to put a dot on the target, and it's not a whole ton of damage, but it is free damage, and so it's totally worth it. It's totally passive too, which is the best part. You also get an ability called Searing Strike, which is just a very weak attack, but it does fire damage, which ignores armor, so that's always good. Anyway, so onto the Champion, the main focus of the video. Again, it is based around two-handers. It has like a lot of really amazing passives, just like the Paragon, that's useful for anyone, including here's the damaging abilities that consume attack points with your finishing moves, in other words, deal an additional 10% damage. So that's obviously just straight damage. And then here's one that abilities that do not consume attack points increase by 18%, but only while wielding a two-handed weapon. So it wouldn't be useful for a Paragon, but if you're playing a Riftblade or a Beastmaster or any other spec that uses a two-hander, then this would be really nice. Now, I mentioned I wanted to go over all of my proc abilities. The first one I showed you was Turn the Blade. The next one I want to show you is called Inescapable Fury. This is if the enemy dodges or parries. So this one procs if you parry or block. This one procs if the enemy dodges or parries. So does that make sense? So after either one of those happens, you get a proc and you get to use these abilities. Now keep in mind these abilities only cost 10 power, which is nothing. And they're on short cooldowns and they're off the global cooldown, so they can be used instantly whenever you want. Okay, the next one in the series is Frenzied Strike. This one does require a lot of points in Champion to get, but it's a really big attack that happens after landing any crit. Then the last one is Bloodthirst, which is used after killing an enemy. So after you kill one, you go to the next enemy and you get a free attack at the beginning of the fight. Now there's 2 other interesting things here. There's this talent, Brutal Punishment, which causes your Inescapable Fury to be 100% crit. So if you have the enemy dodges or parries you, you can crit them with Inescapable Fury and then immediately proc a Frenzied Strike. They do chain together like that, which is cool. Also, I can't get it yet because I'm not high enough level, but Blood Frenzy increases the crit chance of your Bloodthirst by 50% for 2 points, so 100%. So that means when you kill an enemy, you go to the next one, you Bloodthirst it for a guaranteed crit, and then you immediately hit a Frenzied Strike. That's really cool. It's a really good setup, and it opens with a lot of damage. Plus, your charge ability, Bull Rush, does damage on its own, too. It's a lot more than 16 to 18. Again, these tooltips do not show you the full amount. You don't show them until you see them on your bar. Now, for your combo, for your attack points, your main ability is Power Strike, and there's a lot of other abilities that are provided by other specs. Like you can get an ability that reduces the enemy's armor, but it doesn't stack with Mark of Inevitability. This is also reduces armor. This is one I used at the beginning of the video. So let's see it again here. 20 meter rage. Mark of Inevitability is going to hit and put the debuff on for the armor and doesn't aggro them, so you can open the fight with it. The only annoying thing about this ability is that it does use a global cooldown, so if you get into a fight with something, like if something adds on you and you want to put this debuff on, it just wastes time, but it's still worth it. The other abilities, of course, besides Power Strike, is Debilitating Strike. This one puts a debuff that causes the enemy to take more damage from your finisher, and that said finisher is Punishing Blow, which is just a straight damage finisher. Now there's another one called Titan Strike, which is another really powerful finisher apparently. Now this has a 1 minute cooldown, which is kind of interesting, but it's obviously, well, according to the tooltip, it's incredibly powerful. It probably just absolutely destroys whatever you hit with it. So I am looking forward to getting this. It also puts a major stun on the enemy, and it hits a whole bunch of enemies around you. So I have a feeling that once I hit 31, this champion spec is going to just absolutely blow up everything I see. So I'm looking forward to that. Champions also have another attack point generating ability here, Mighty Blow, which is a cleave, just hits everyone in front of you. It does a lot of damage, but it costs a little bit more power than your Power Strike. Okay, now passive buffs. I've already mentioned the Paragon's passive buff, which is Way of the River, and Focus Strength, Riftblade, which is Stormblade, and the last one that I have is from Champion. It's called the Bearings. You only have one bearing at a time. This is the one I'm using here. It gives you a 15% bonus to critical strike damage, and you can put points in here to Intense Training, which buffs it more. As you can see, I just only have one because I don't have enough, free points, obviously. But at higher levels, I'll definitely get this as soon as I can. The other two, the low-level one that you can get if you have Champion as a sub-spec very easily is Soldier's Bearing, which just increases your physical damage. And this is good for this spec only, or well, not for this spec only. It's also good for a Paragon because both of those do physical damage. But a lot of other specs for the Warrior do not do physical damage, so this is only, it's pretty limited in usefulness. The Slayer's Bearing is way better. The last bearing you don't get for a long time, 51 points. It's a Destroyer's Bearing. So the thing about this bearing that makes it so powerful is that it just completely transforms. Like, if you have a 50-point champion versus a 51-point champion, it's night and day, because what this does is it causes you to only have to build 2 attack points for every finisher, and it also causes your finishers to be drastically more powerful. Since every time you finish, you drop a finisher, you get 1 extra attack point. So that's the bearings, and that's the proc attacks and all that with the champion. So that's pretty much how the champion works. Let's kill a few more things just for fun here. A few more of these little rock monsters. I'm out in Stonefield. Great looking area. Gets earth rifts and death rifts, mostly earth. So we're going to use our Mark of Inevitability. Remember Bull Rush. I skipped a really important talent. There's 2 of them actually. Blitz lets you do your charge in combat, causes your enemy to be rooted, and then Overrun causes the enemy to be stunned. So you can actually use Bull Rush in the middle of a fight, and I'll show you how. Actually, you know what? I'll just save it. Let me open the fight by just regular attack. So I'm fighting this guy, and then say, oh look, my Bull Rush cooldown came up. I can just run out and do it again, and it stuns him. I get an attack point, and it does damage. So it's like a really powerful attack. So once you have Overrun and Blitz, you want to actually work Bull Rush into your combos, even against like bosses and stuff. Bull Rush only costs 10 power, so here we go. Charge in. I got a Bloodthirst, got a Frenzied Strike, Punishing Blow. Bull Rush is not going to come up in these fights because they're so short. And Bull Rush is a 15-second cooldown, I think? Yeah, 15. So let's put him debuff, charge, Bloodthirst, Punishing Blow, Debilitating, power strike, punishing. I didn't get any procs during that fight. When you get a couple procs chained together, it goes really fast. So, can't wait till I have the 100% crit on Bloodthirst. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, so this spec really does tear. Ooh, I got 2 procs. Boom, boom, just like that. I got 3. Well, I got a proc of Inescapable Fury, and then that gave me a proc because it crits 100%. Then it gave me a proc of Frenzied Strike. But really, this build is built around critting. One thing I have noticed fighting like raid bosses and stuff, like they do in the world raids, is that I do run out of power with this spec eventually, and wind up having to sit there and wait for power to recharge, which really hurts your damage. There's a talent, and as soon as I get out of combat, I'll show you. I don't have this talent, and I need to respect for it. It doesn't really affect grinding, but it will affect your late game DPS, that's for sure, or your dungeons, or anything else where you're standing one place beating the crap out of something for a while. There it is. Deadly, no, that's not it. Grim Satisfaction. Successful critical hits regain 5 power, so 15 power for 3 points. And this is really, really powerful because as the spec, you do have 2 different abilities that proc with a 100% chance to crit. And that means if these things proc during a battle, you know, every time you proc, you get an extra bunch of power back. And on top of that, you gain lots and lots of free power just from your regular crits, just from your day-to-day crits, from your power strike and your punishing blow and all that stuff. Then there's another ability, which I can't get yet because I can't get it to level 26, but I'm going to as soon as I hit 26. It's on a 1-minute cooldown and it makes a guaranteed crit. So there you go, but it gets even better. If you put 3 points into perfect timing, it drops the cooldown to 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, you get a free crit of your choosing. You can do a free crit of Punishing Blow, which is what you really should do, and then immediately follow with a Frenzied Strike. And both of those will gain 15 free power. So it's actually a really powerful spec. It's a very good grinding spec. It's probably the second best of all the grinding specs I've tried. And I will not tell you what the first spec is yet until you see the video. You'll have to wait. But anyway, I believe that's all I have for the champion today. Oh, I want to talk about alternate souls before we go. What else can we try? Now, I tried lots of combinations. I have tried so many things with the warrior to try to get it to go faster. One of the things I tried was the Beastmaster, and this was very disappointing. When you put 10 points in the Beastmaster, you get this buff, which causes your beast to be a better tank. Because the beast you get for free, but he doesn't tank at all. So this one's supposed to, increases its defensive abilities, and then it also increases, what does it do? It reduces the damage the enemy does, and some other crap. It even has a taunt, it has increased threat, but you know what? It's terrible. It doesn't work. It only works for the 3 seconds during the taunt, and then the enemy peels right off you. So I found this to be very disappointing, and not useful at all as a grinding spec, as a sub-spec for 10 points. And that's too bad, because, it makes me really appreciate the Ranger for the Rogue, because the Ranger with 0 points gives you a damn Razor Beast that is a real pro tank. So, yeah, Beastmaster as a secondary spec does not work. The rest of the specs are defensive in nature, and none of them really give you good abilities for free, but there's a couple of decent ones. The Warlord gives you a nice free ability that makes enemies have a 5% chance to miss. That's pretty good. It also gives you an attack that reduces armor on the target, which is also pretty good, but just not as good as Stormblade. Other freebies that are good, where is it here? Void, which causes you to absorb non-physical damage. It converts it into packs. Packs are complicated, don't worry about that. When I do a Void Knight video, I'll show you all about how those work, but in short, the only purpose of this is to reduce incoming magical damage by 5%. So, I mean, there's really no other combination besides these. I guess the only other combination would be to try Beastmaster, just to get the general defensive abilities and let the pet just add DPS for you. Yeah, there's hardly anything, though. Okay, well, that does it for the champion today. Champion Paragon Riftblade is the configuration. Physical damage dealer, 2-hander warrior, lots of fun, probably one of the best grinding specs available. Thanks for watching. This is Cromar with TGN.